questions about some personal interaction you had today. Is it sometimes confusing how people act like, why would you do that, bro? Why would you do that when you did that thing? Like, that didn't make any sense. I would never do that. But, I mean, I guess that's how it goes.
Hey, what's happening, guys? What's happening, guys? Can you hear this? Can you hear this? Am I coming in? And am I coming in loud and clear? Okay, I just checked. It's looks good. Right. Yeah, just trying to get a little higher production value for you guys. If you could actually tune in and pay attention to what's going on here, might as well make it a little pleasing on the eyes, if you know what I mean. Right, I'm definitely masking my voice and my appearance. I mean, that's the thing. If somebody really wanted to track me down, I guess you could dox me if if that's really what you were into. Maybe through this location alone. But you know, it's pretty standard stuff that you're looking at here. At least the building is a prefab, so that would be pretty hard to track down. This seemed to work pretty well. I haven't even actually looked at this. This is a time lapse from today or yesterday, right? We're actually in the 23rd. It's the 23rd now. And this is actually a pretty good little piece here of right. I'm trying to get my system going here. Just a time lapse of what was going on outside. I think this is at half a second intervals, so right, if you do see something interesting, and it's definitely glitching a little bit, just cause computer, but yeah, you can see it was I guess relatively slow moving sort of cloud day. But you had this wispy kind of thing going on all day. It was very cold actually, and it was very cold also after the moon, when there was no spraying at all, basically going down. This sky, it's I don't know. I spent a lot of time looking up at it, and I definitely want to do some more research into what these actual clouds are, but I mean, it's fascinating in general just to watch it roll by. So we can, you know, check back in there a little later. Let's see what's going on in the news. It's still this MAGA hat guy. I guess, you know, nothing really should surprise anybody at this point. But getting this kid with, you know, or this big group of children. I think that's a major part of the message here. That these aren't some old codgery sort of fallen down drunk, you know, yokels that are voting for Trump. These are kids that have thought it through, and they're young, and they're engaged, and they're actually, you know, that was their choice. Although it does seem, right, they do seem just kind of decked out. You see a lot of the same colors, and obviously the MAGA hat is a uniform in its own right. I mean, I guess you could check this article out, right? But that's from Flawless, got 10K. Right, and they're having to release a correction about this guy, because I mean, this definitely just feels mega staged, and this is just another one of their actor types. Washington Post has walked back claims about the military record of Nathan Phillips, the Native American activist at the center of the national controversy captured on video. Right, how has this turned into a national controversy? You think it's just totally on accident? I mean, that just seems kind of insane. If that was the actual truth, right? And here's another good one. Chris Brown back in the news for being a rapist. I was thinking about this, like he was sort of the original back in the day when outrage culture was just getting started, right? When he was hitting his girlfriend, this was sort of the first wave of all that. It was sort of priming the pump and wave for this whole Me Too movement. And here he is back being a rapist because right, obviously he's been sort of contracted, or right, it depends on who you talk to. Everybody this deep in has gotten through some sort of initiation, right? There's no way you get to that sort of level without getting initiated. So they got a contractor for life. He's sold his soul to the devil and or whatever you want to call it, and right, he's in it for life, and so they might as well just bring it back every once in a while, because right, they invested in it and might as well see some return on that, right? Who gives a fuck about Chris Brown? And a bunch of other just endless sort of stories. Oh yeah, and I thought this was really good. Yeah, don't forget about this one. This was in The New Scientist. Come on, let's get the crop right. A meteorite hit the moon during yesterday's total lunar eclipse. Are you kidding me? Right? Because I mean, that was the whole thing. That was the whole premise. Like everybody all over the internet was saying, oh, they were spraying just like crazy that whole day, and then the day afterwards there was absolutely nothing going on. And that, I mean, just that fact alone is something. And I had a picture. I don't know if I can pull it up here. If it's been uploaded yet. Right, but here's a picture I just took like an hour ago. And that's the moon, and obviously lens flare, not Nibiru, definitely not Nibiru right there. And there is a single jet that flew by, and I watched this, over the course of the afternoon sort of dissipate for a while, and it definitely passed in front of the moon, and then there was sort of a haze surrounding it for some time. And it makes me sort of wonder about, at least a part of the whole stuff in the air experience that we're talking about here. Right? Maybe that's when they need to hide something like this going down. That's when they spray, when you see a big bright flash. And I think that's why they were spraying so much, because they knew this eclipse was gonna mess with whatever sort of lensing, right? I mean, there's obviously some sort of use of lensing and cloaking that is used to some degree somewhere. I mean, I know that's pretty broad, but that's the trouble. It's hard to lock anything down. But I think, or maybe that's not what they have, and that's why they're spraying, basically, because if they have something important going down, right? And that's what I was also thinking about. Like, right, if they spray and then they're trying to mask something, right? It depends on your vantage point, like for which group of the ground are they actually, right? I guess because you could do the math and say, for this area, this thing is going to be obstructed. But it's a big country. There's a lot of different eyes looking up and from different directions. So how could they actually time this out to actually obstruct the view for everybody, right? Because somebody's going to get through and get a picture, and then it's all going to be messed up, right? Yeah, but maybe that's a reason they're trying to hide with this meteorite. Alright, that's the timer. I'm just gonna play that again. I'm gonna leave this screen open. Right, because I did have some good pictures of, Right, I'm trying to break it up into different sections, right? So we're gonna get more into research. That was more about the news. I guess I could sneak a little bit of this footage into here, into the research section. I just wanted to take a look at the sunset, right, and the colors that we're looking at just today. And you know, if that was sort of the plan, if I can get my ass up and do this show every day to sort of track, you know, day in day out what's going on, what's the coloring that I'm seeing outside my window, what kind of shapes are we seeing, and if I can get a little more knowledge on actual cloud formations and what's up with that, then I think that would definitely be helpful. I was just noticing, right, and that's I got a bunch of other stuff going on because I'm broke AF, as probably the most other rest of people listening, or at some point in the future listening, are. So I got a bunch of schemes going on, got a bunch of different things I'm trying to get, you know, just trying to survive basically in this crazy world. So I don't have time really to go comb through all this footage before, so it's sort of a mutual discovery we're going on here. And this is obviously, right, we got into nighttime, but I noticed, oh, sorry, I'm not allowed to do that now. Right, is that the moon or some sort of star rising? Or just a fleck of dust? That's the thing. Even, you know, I'm just basically up to admitting that when I don't know what I'm talking about or what I'm doing, I'm willing to just make these observations and figure out what's going on there, basically, to the best of my knowledge. But you know, I'm not gonna pretend that I'm some mega expert. That's why I feel like a lot on the internet you'll see some people that are just like the mega experts, basically, and you're sort of like, how could you possibly know, right? Like, who was I watching today that, I'm trying to get some video up for you, right? So there's a lot of moving parts. What if we, right, content archiver. That's what this stuff is for. So what's my stuff for 22? Right, I go throughout the day and I sort of, you know, take notes. Right, so these are going to go by too fast. So that's why I really got to start to organize myself before, and that's just the thing. That's why I was explaining that whole thing about being broke, because it's just like, I don't know, in the modern age we're just like hunted at all times. Because there's just no money and the economy's collapsing, you're just sort of squeezed, and so it makes it hard to really focus and sit down and study something and even have the time to prepare good material, you know, especially if it's on a daily basis. Yeah, but this is a little clip I watched from, what's the movie? It's really good, actually. I'm not finished with it. Above Majestic. It's another one of those Orchard films, and this is about, you know, the UFO program and what was going on with that, and a lot of guys talking about yeah, basically aliens in this super secret space program that's going along. But this clip is actually for this guy that worked in the CIA that's coming out. Like, I guess this is some sort of town hall meeting, and he's coming out saying that, like, yeah, the CIA, they totally had all these drug running programs, and that was going on for a real long time, and I was part of it, and I ran these drugs, and it was all black budget, and it was all going into, you know, these special operation things. And that's sort of like that thing I was looking at, you know, the budgeting, and where it's just really hard to track any sort of money that people are spending. right? And this is just another clip from that, the Above Majestic. It's just basic alien talk, but there are some interesting topics. But then this guy, I mean, you've seen him all over the place. Forget what his name is. He seems a little fake to me. Just my gut vibe is like he's just very happy and you know, definitely talks about a lot of real stuff. But this is a whole segment of him, you know, again condemning the Illuminati and the whole scene about hiding all this stuff in culture and the symbolism, right? And that's obviously something that I'm interested in too. But it's just interesting that it keeps coming up. I could change this. Yeah, there we go. It's just interesting. I think that this is just, I don't know, it's all over the culture. That's what I'm saying. It's like it doesn't really matter what you're watching or what you're looking at. It's like, yeah, if you're gonna go to conspiracy entertainment, then you're gonna definitely hear about Pizzagate and all this child molesting stuff, and you're gonna be asking yourself constantly, you know, is any of this true? Is this actually real? And then you're gonna keep seeing more stuff, the Franklin cover up, and you're gonna be like, is any of that true? And it's just, I don't know, it's just interesting to me to hear the big guys that you keep seeing over and over again in this scene to be saying, right, to be pushing sort of this whole Satan narrative, because in the end it's just so fascinating and deep. It's like created this whole subculture, and that's anything like that. I don't know. I just tend to question it, like why did this get turned into such a big deal? And it was definitely, you know, it came through 4chan in a bunch of deeper angles, but to have everybody talking about it all the time now, right? And maybe that's part of the deal. It's just like, just by showing it and continuing to talk about it, it permeates, it drives deeper into the culture, and then, you know, from the bottom, it sort of pushes up towards the top, and you start to see a lot more sort of mainstream articles recognizing it. But I mean, a lot of his premise here is that the culture is just like filled with these little hints that are slowly indoctrinating us. And that was, you know, I was watching that Truth Stream video. That's what that's all about too. And that's a lot of the stuff that I look for. You know, but I'm trying to go on a different angle. Obviously, everybody has their own sort of frame of perception and the experience that they have that allows them to look at that kind of stuff. So I was wondering what this was. Oh, that's for later, right? Just gotta get organized. Was there any other news articles in here though? Yeah, what I thought was interesting there, the magic of computers. What I thought was interesting here, they're talking about in the movie, was this this underground base. This is like from a mission that happened back in, yeah, I guess the 60s, and they went to Greenland and told everybody, the Department of Defense told the Danish government, right, the purpose was to test various construction techniques under Arctic conditions, explore practical problems with a semi-mobile nuclear reactor, as well as supporting scientific experiments in the ice cap. But what they really did was like build a giant missile defense thing, and to see if they could actually like fit it into the ice, and if the ice was gonna melt. But it was basically this like you know, you would see in Dr. Evil or what's it called, Austin Powers, like just some sort of cartoonishly evil ice layer. It was probably pretty awesome. And that was the plan that they talked about. And you know, and in the movie they're just all talking about how like they, you know, that's not what happened, and they use it for a center for human cloning and all this other crazy stuff. And you know, maybe that's what was going on in there. Like maybe these guys in the movie know what's going on. or maybe not. You know, they're all trying to make their careers too, and I sort of see it if you're trying to operate and be a personality, like you gotta have your little thing that you talk about all the time, and that's like your frame of research that you did. And I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to know who to trust. Like, who do you possibly trust? Okay, time's up on research. So, get into symbolism. This is just sort of a test. What if I play some video without sound? What's that like? How did you? What do you think about that? Censors? Is that going to be too offensive for you? I hope not. I hope not. This is from This is from before. Gotta get organized. I guess I'll just like make some folders or something. Right. So that's just from TV. That was like last night's Arrow episode, and I think it's right. There's been a lot of. That's what I recognize in the conspiracy culture that kind of bothers me is that yeah, that's sort of what happens. You latch on to certain ideas or stories or things that have been heard, and then there's just sort of like, you know, cliche examples of what's going on, like in Antarctica or right. It doesn't really matter where we're talking about. There ends up being these like 5 or 6 stories that people just keep repeating, and I was, you know, they're doing really good work over there at Edge of Wonder. Shout out to Edge of Wonder, but right, and I think it's good just sort of like intro material if you're not familiar with a lot of this stuff, because they just present the material and stuff that yeah, if you're not like deeply embedded in and done a bunch of research yourself, then you wouldn't know who Victor Schauberger is, and yeah, hopefully you know who Victor Schauberger is. Definitely shout out to Victor Schauberger. Right, but it's just the same stories sort of come up over and over again, and I just want to keep looking for new stuff, basically, right? And also here's just an example. This is or no, this is from Passage, which is a new show, I guess on Fox or something. Yeah, but it's all about vampires, like, again, and there's just been so many vampire shows recently, just insane, and just buckets full of vampire shows. I think what's another one? Van Helsing. And I mean that's just what's running right now. I mean, historically there's been a ton of shows, and it definitely had its heyday, maybe back in 2007 or so, when you know, True Blood and that whole scene, that it was different back then, right? But this is from Passage, and it's just, you know, again, more end of the world. That's you know, chalk another show up to being about the end of the world. This is definitely all about some apocalypse that's getting created by the you know, antibiotics, just basically some medical damaging experience that has happened to you know, the entire network, and I don't know, I forgot the exact details. Doesn't really matter. They're all going to get sick and die. That basically everybody is. So they have to turn to vampire technology, which will just make you feel fantastic and kill all the cancer and all the diseases, like no matter what they are and how powerful they are. And right, you know, we're talking about culture. It is all sort of portrayed in symbols, right? So the vampire is a big symbol all throughout culture, and it's what's running the show, and then you know, that's what I see is these, and it's not just about triangles on the wall and other sort of things. Although I picked this picture, right, because so here's like the main hero dude, and he's like having a crisis of conscience. He's having a standoff. He's gonna turn himself in and and give up, running away from these bad guys because the bad guys like want this kid, right? And that's what I'm saying with this satanic thing. Like this is all over every place, all the time, everywhere, and you just, I don't know, you sort of get trained in when you're sifting through a lot of this stuff to notice things like that when it just permeates the culture, right? And if you talk about any of these other big symbols like space or the family or chivalry or any of these kind of things, that's, I don't know, I just think anything like that deserves like a fair examination of like, bro, what's up with the vampires all the time? Like, what exactly are we supposed to be talking about here with these vampires? Like, and what is it all about? It's like it's this. Oh, the strain. That's another one. That one's pretty funny actually. Um, what is it? What is it about vampires that right? And I don't think it's just because they focus group me, but like, yeah, vampires are cool. They test well, maybe, but uh, um, it's also a lot about them just sort of crafting and putting out different ideas out there uh, to make you feel and think a certain way, right? And what is it about the vampire? How does it make people feel? Like, how does it make you feel? Because I know everybody, all these symbols, like people have just a visceral reaction, like, vampires, it's blood, and it has all these associations. And every show has like a slightly different spin on it. So this one plays really heavily into the like telekinesis aspect. So they got all the prisoners locked up in cages. Not the prisoner. Well, that's what they are. The plot really isn't that important. They're getting prisoners from death row, and or maybe it is, right? It depends on which aspects you want to focus on. Like, right. So here's a scene where basically this guy's been being a jerk, and that's another classic TV trope where somebody's being a jerk, and then they get killed, and everybody's fine with it because that guy was like literally seconds ago being a total asshole, and so he deserves to die basically. And yeah, you can go off on a whole tangent about ritual sacrifice on television. I think that's one of the major theses if they're showing it to you on TV. What if I did this? Dynamic zoom. Is it working? Yes. I think that's one of the big theses is if they show something to you and people like have it in their eyeballs all over the country, all over the world, and repeatedly all throughout history, especially if it's a really important cultural event, or we're talking about just anything that's on camera, filmed and streamed into eyeballs. And I don't have the numbers on how many people are watching Passage, but it's probably a fair amount, and there's a lot of just very powerful, obviously, the things that people notice, imagery, acting, sound design, all that kind of stuff. But the actual symbols, right? All of that is sort of built around and created to support the symbolism and to give it even more power, right? Because if something looks like ultra realistic on screen, then you right, I'm trying to edit on the fly. That's my trouble here. Right, and here's where I should set this up ahead of time and make some markers. That's just the trouble. I don't have all day to like prepare this show. Basically, I got a bunch of other stuff going on. But I just know, check this shot out. This is from the end of the episode when they carry them away, and right, the bad guys basically captured them. And it's interesting. Here's her main hero guy, right? He's got his hands up, and just this is just a random house that they picked. They scouted the location, and this is just the random house that they decided on, and it happens to have these two peaks here, right? The two triangles headed upwards, right? And with the actor, the hero, right here in the middle. And you could go to town. You could probably read a lot about this and film student books about, you know, camera composition and all that kind of stuff. But you know, is this really random? It's a little rambly, but you know, trying to get through a lot of different ideas here. What's up with vampires? Like, why all the vampires?
Yeah, what's happening with vampires? I know it's hard to say, it's really hard to say, I'm really not sure about these vampires, and I hope that, you know, is this actually on right now, cause I've had some trouble with this part, like it wasn't recording, and it just, the output wasn't working. But I think it's working now. And this is one thing I forgot to talk about. Like, here's some actual symbols. They're in the hallway, like in the evil dungeon lair. And like, every time they go outside, the walls are covered in these diamonds and these ornate designs. And you might just say like, whatever, bro, that's just like wallpaper. That's just a wallpaper. And that's not really that big of a deal. But I mean, I should have the other frame lined up where when they're in their cages, it's a bunch of just white room or whatever. You know, it's just like they're in this white room, and then they like go into the hallway and it's full of these diamonds and other ornate designs, but basically mostly diamonds like this. Basically just diamonds. And what's the meaning of that? Why did they pick that? And you say like it's a whole stained glass wall, like they couldn't just, that's part of the building, but they could totally composite that in. And then she shows her wrist on the CW, I don't know what's up with that.